Well, we could have got another one of these. Hey guys, welcome to my second video on Planetary Reviews. Thank you so much for watching my very first video. I was very proud of that. I was very happy to start off with a Star Wars review. But today we are talking about Assassin's Creed, that is based off the video game made by Ubisoft. First thing I want to say is that this story is simple, to the point. You will be able to understand it. If you have never played these games, don't worry. They made it very simple for you, and you will understand it. So, the story was very simple. It was about the Templars trying to find the Apple of Eden, which has the ability to take away humanity's willpower, and that will make all of us super obedient and make us bow down to their will. And that is their idea of trying to create world peace and have no more violence. But the assassins don't believe that. The assassins believe that we should be allowed to keep our free will so that we can have the ability to choose, the ability to make our own decisions without having to just bow down to an all-knowing being and have to basically never be able to make our own decisions again. That's not what they want. They want us to have our freedom intact. So the story, very simple. You guys will be able to follow it very easily if you've never played these games. And there are no spoilers in this review, so do not worry. Next thing I want to talk about is the main character, Cal, played by Michael Fassbender. He did a good job in this movie. I really did enjoy seeing his character, and I found it to be very interesting. He was actually a lot more interesting to me than Desmond was in the games, because I will admit in the first game, I didn't really enjoy him. I was just kind of like, he's here, and I care more about the past assassin. Granted, as the games went on, you started to like him a lot more, which is good. But in this movie, you liked him all the way from the get-go. You thought he was a pretty cool character. He gets sentenced to death for committing a murder, and then he wakes up in Abstergo, and they tell him that they want to go through his genetic code and learn about his ancestors' memories to try and find the Apple of Eden. And that's where this movie stands strong, the story and Michael Fassbender's performance. Where this movie begins to falter is the fact that when they have a action scene in this movie, I wasn't very impressed with the way they did their action. They kept jump cutting to the Animus and then to the past. Animus past throughout the entire fight, which took you out of it. I understand that you want to portray that this Animus is different from the game, where you are like attached to this thing on your back, kind of like what the Matrix does, where you get something attached to your neck. The only difference is that instead of just laying down and being very still during all this, you're actually doing all of the movements that your past self is doing. You're like, if your past self is climbing a wall or fighting somebody, you're doing all those movements. You're learning how to use a sword. You're learning how to parkour. You're learning everything, and that's really cool. That's something I liked. I liked the fact that the Animus made you have to move around and everything, and actually physically learn how to do what your past assassin self is doing. That's awesome. But when you're constantly cutting from the assassin in the movie fighting a bunch of guards trying to get away, and then you're jump cutting to the future where he's completely safe and you know he's not going to get hurt, that takes you out of it. You're not being as immersed as you should be when you actually feel like, oh my god, is he going to get hurt? Because they kept jump cutting to the future where he's just in a room just seeing everything and he's safe. That takes you out of it. You're not going to be able to be invested into that fight scene because of the fact that you know he's safe. You know that he himself is not going to get hurt. And also, another problem, I did not like the character development in this movie. The only one we ever got to really understand was Cal, Michael Fassbender's character. We did not get to understand anyone else. Assassin's Creed is about the assassins, learning about them, learning about the way they acted, why they did what they did. You get a little bit of that, but you don't get to know the main character. I don't even remember his name. I don't even remember the assassin in this movie's name. That is how underdeveloped he was. The assassin in this movie was from Spain, and that's as much as I remember about him. I know no details about him. He was not developed at all, and I would have loved to see how he acted when he wasn't on a mission. I would have loved to see if he had friends. I would have loved to see how he dealt with a mission, if he concentrated on trying to follow a target. If just tell me how he was. That was the magic of the games. In the games, we spent so much time with the assassin that we were learning about that we got to understand him. We got to sit there and really learn about him. And I wanted that in this movie, but we got none of it. They kept giving us just random fight scenes that would happen in the past, and that was it. You got no development of the assassin in this movie at all. And that was very disappointing, because you could tell that if they would have stayed in the past, this movie would have been a completely different story. This would have been really awesome to learn about what was going on during the Spanish Inquisition and everything that was going on when they were trying to find the apple. They gave us little tidbits, but they didn't give us enough. And I wanted to learn about it so much because I loved the assassins in the Assassin's Creed universe. So the fact that we did not get to spend that much time with them was extremely disappointing. And I was just taken away that we didn't get to spend that much time with them. And then on top of that, I want to say that the special effects in this movie, while not the best in the world, they were not bad. they were not bad. I rather enjoyed it a lot. And I liked it when like they were about to take like a leap of faith a few times. Just the way they made you feel like you were really high above like all the buildings and everything was very cool. I loved it when I saw my first leap of faith in this movie. And I think that you guys are going to enjoy that. But this movie could have done so much more. This movie could have been really, really well done. And it could have really just taken us to like a whole new world with these assassins. But instead, it just suffers from poor fighting, poor editing, poor character development, while having a good actors behind this movie. I mean, Jeremy Irons, Michael Fassbender, what could go wrong? They just don't utilize them to their maximum. They don't let them get developed enough. You barely spend any time with anyone else other than Cal. And it would have been so great to see some more assassins, learn about Jeremy Irons' character, learn about everything. And the fights could have been so much better if they just didn't try to keep going back and forth to the Animus and showing us what's happening. So, at the end of the day, was this movie terrible? Did I not have a good time watching this movie? I admit I was a little bored throughout most of it when they would go back to the present, because it was mostly exposition being thrown at you just by telling you, instead of letting you learn it naturally through the movie, or learning about the exposition through the assassin's eyes. Instead, we would go back to the present and we would hear it being told to us, and that's not fun. I wanted to learn it through the past, seeing it through the assassin's eye. But instead, we would go back to the present, and it would just be told to us like we were children trying to learn to eat for the first time. That really took me out of it. So guys, at the end of the day, Assassin's Creed was not terrible, but it also wasn't great. It wasn't something that I can recommend you to go out and see. So, Assassin's Creed, sadly, gets a C- from me. So, thank you so much for watching, guys. Tell me what you thought about this movie. Maybe me and you share the same opinion. Maybe some of you liked it more. Maybe some of you liked it even less than me. Maybe some of you guys thought it was a really garbage movie. But nevertheless, just please put a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe. And I do not know what my next video will be. I'm going to try and review maybe a new game that will be coming out. I might be doing some older games that came out this year that I did not get to touch upon, like Xenoverse 2, maybe the new Call of Duty, one of those titles, maybe Overwatch. I do not know yet, but we will see what happens. But again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a great day, guys.